But aside from that, actually drives quite nice. Yep. Oh,
so slow.
That is horrible. Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 16, and it's episode on
the E46 330ci, which actually we introduced to the channel a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of you guys were pretty happy to see it.
Yeah, I thought you were all M54 fans. What's this like in an old
M54?
M54. All right, so this is actually our old man's car. He's bought it as a bit of a project, although he is daily driving at the same time. So progress is going to be slow because it's not a priority to turn it into his version of the perfect one, which is going to involve modifying it and probably ruining its dailiness.
But don't forget, if you can jump in the comments and convince him with some more comments, it does help.
Yes, he did see everyone suggesting the turbo. Well, he's anti-boosted, isn't he? He prefers naturally aspirated real horsepower, as he likes to call it.
Which there was a couple of people commenting about the throttle bodies, the ITB conversion kits that you can get for the M54s,
which he did look up, and he quite likes them.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Keep it coming.
Yeah, in fact, he was looking at buying a set, and I think he'd almost rather spend the money on something like that than a turbo, even though it's the same money and nets a much
way
smaller
less
result.
Yeah.
But anyway, the last time we saw this car, it wasn't actually roadworthy, and it did have a few little niggles, which we managed to sort out without spending too much money. In fact, the only part I think he needed to buy was the thermofan.
Yes, correct. Which managed to get from a local wrecker, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, he didn't want to get an aftermarket one, so he went for a local wrecker, and he ended up paying more for the second-hand one from a wrecker than he could have got an aftermarket new one. And when they pulled it up to the counter, it ended up being an aftermarket one anyway, so he was a bit annoyed about that, but
it's the way of the world.
That's the way it goes. But yeah, he put that on when he got the road with it. It did need 2 rear tyres.
Which actually that will be important for today's video, being a 0 to 60 episode, which I believe they are Max Tracks?
They are Max Tracks.
Max Tracks. These are actually some of the best rubber you can get for 0 to 60 acceleration times. Been proven in many racing scenarios.
No, they're literally the cheapest tyres he could get because he's not sure he's going to leave those wheels on. He just wanted to get it roadworthy, get driving, get some miles up on the car.
And they'll do the job.
They will do the job for today. So now to confirm all the spec on this vehicle, it is a 2001 model.
Yep.
It's an E46 and it was a factory SMG car.
Yes, that's where it gets a little bit weird. So it's not the same SMG as the E46 M3 or even the E36 or the E60 M5s and so on and so on. It is a little bit different and a little bit slower.
Yeah, this SMG is made by ZF, not Getrag, who make the one that's in the M3.
Yeah.
Which is why you can't just throw the shifter levers and all that stuff onto this gearbox to do the conversion. You do actually need to physically change the box. So he is looking for a 6-speed E46 330 gearbox, and that is what will be going in this because he does want to manual convert it sooner rather than later.
I think it will be a much better car for it.
But while we've got the SMG version, we thought we'd do a test on it and see how fast or slow they are. Do you know the factory specs of these, Dave?
Well, it's weird. When I was looking at the E46s, I wanted a manual, and they were... So the M54, the 3 litre, is 170 kilowatts.
Yep.
Not too bad, but 230-ish horsepower, something like that, not too bad at all. Automatics were 7.3 seconds, I think, so we're into the 7s, not too bad. The manuals were actually high 6s, like 6.9s. So I was thinking the SMG is going to be probably in between because it may be a little bit better off the line if they can be aggressive.
Yep.
But BMW claim a 6.5 second for the SMG.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it for a second.
All right. Now there is one modification on this vehicle. Would you mind popping the bonnet up, David? I say one modification. There's a few. This is the only one that's going to...
You're talking about the...
hot air intake?
It's not the CSL intake, it's the MSL, I think, MSL.
Yeah, the previous owner has put a lovely pod filter on it. I don't think it's going to do much in this case. If anything, it may slow it down.
However, while you're here, it does make some good noises. I will give the previous owner that. It does actually, you do get some very nice induction sound. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, fire it up. Yeah, basically a CSL intake.
It's pretty much.
Yep.
But it it does give you that sort of that straight six BMW feeling where you get much more induction as opposed to the exhaust.
Yeah, it's more of a... This car sounds more growly than raspy.
Yes, that.
Which is a good thing. Okay, so everything's pretty tidy under here. The vehicle has only done 110,000 kilometers. It is pretty tidy.
It really is,
The interior's really been well looked after. When we actually picked it up, it was covered in a horrific carbon fiber trim. We've removed that and it actually looks quite nice now.
Dave, should we take it for a drive? I reckon we should. We'll head out on the road and see just how... It's not going to make 6.5, but let's hit the road. Let's see how she feels.
Alrighty. So guys, we're out in the car. Dave's driving. He is the E46 specialist. So, actually one other thing that we did fix, well we didn't fix, it just fixed itself. When we put the thermofan in, the aircon started working as well. So that was a nice win.
And it is very good air conditioning as well, I'll give it that.
It sure is. Now, when I actually first drove this car as well, I thought it was quite nippy. David actually picked this car up from where it lives, which was a 20-minute highway drive. And your opinion was it was quite docile at highway speeds.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you that driving around town at suburbia speeds, this beautiful 3-litre engine does feel nice and torquey and very responsive. And straight away it reminded me of driving Keith's Z3.
Yep.
Which that car was awesome. And to be honest, I don't think we gave that enough credit when we 0 to 60 that, because she was pretty bloody quick. But this car, not being the manual, as soon as you get to 100 k's an hour, or even from 80 k's onwards, it loses that nippiness, that snappiness that
it's running out of power.
Exactly. Which means, I think, once you actually get into the runs and it's really, really under load, you're really trying to accelerate as quickly as possible, it's not going to have the power there to launch it forwards.
And the other thing we need to talk about the runs, it has had an SMG from an M3 shifter put in there. Now you think that would be a cool little advantage, however the shifters are different and they don't function properly, so we can't actually put this car in sport mode, which is going to be another big hindrance.
And just, if you guys aren't familiar with the SMG gearbox, when it's not in sports mode, it is so slow. It's just ultimate comfort, so it changes gear slower than a granny shift.
But aside from that, it actually drives quite nice. That is a particularly bumpy road we've just been down.
Yeah, you feel it.
And there was something rattling in the back. I hope the camera didn't pick it up too much, but once we get back onto a normal surface, it's not too bad. It actually drives reasonably well. It may need a wheel alignment. When we, one thing we did change as well, the positioning of the front strut, the left strut was angled in a little bit for some reason, so we've evened the struts out. We haven't done a wheel alignment yet because our old man is about to order a set of coilovers that he's going to get custom made, and we'll get the alignment done once they're fitted. So that is actually going to be the first mod for the car, the coilovers. But yeah, aside from that, what do you reckon it's going to do time-wise? I know they say factory 6.5. I think we're going to be lucky to see a low 7s myself.
I have to. There are so many similarities to this and my black, the LCI 540i, even in terms of the way it propels itself forward. So I reckon it's going to be similar to that, which I think was high. Was it high 7s or mid 7s?
It was a high 7s.
High 7s.
Maybe like 7.8 maybe.
Yeah, so I reckon it's going to be around there, to be fair.
All right. Well, I think you know what we do, guys. I think you guys have a guess. What the hell was that?
Hello? Hello?
The car just spoke.
Anyway,
yeah, please let us know down below what you think it's going to do, and let's get into these runs. Oh, actually, I forgot on the last one, we're using a draggy.
Yes.
These are a very accurate measuring device. A lot of people will chime in and say that they've done X amount of time. If you're using a GPS timer, you cannot compare it to a draggy. They always are way more optimistic.
An OBD timer.
An OBD timer, sorry. Yeah, the OBD timers, like your P3 gauges, the JB4 even, anything you plug into the OBD 2 port to get your time will be a much faster time than a draggy. So keep that in mind, and let's get on with it.
Yeah, and also keep in mind for the runs, just so you guys are aware, traction control is going to be completely off, and me and the SMG, well, just going to trump it, I think. Just put a foot into it and see what happens.
All right.
Okay. So, let's see what happens. You can't stall it up because it's SMG. You ready?
Just got to mash it. Yep.
So slow.
That is horrible.
Didn't want to shift early because it's the slowest shift in the world. We'll check out 60 to 122, yeah?
Yeah.
They are the slowest shifts ever.
Okay, now I've actually got the draggy set in mile per hour because I was checking something the other day, but you can switch it back when you check the results.
Yeah.
So 0 to 60 miles per hour was 8.6.
Oh, that's nasty.
That'll be a 9-second 0 to 100.
Yeah, that is nasty. But it took off. So with an SMG, okay, for example, we've done a lot in the M5 and the M6 that you would have seen, that you may have seen on the channel. If you haven't, go back and watch it. With that, to get the quick launch, you can punch the throttle to about quarter throttle, and it dumps the clutch really quickly. Just starts chirping the tyres, and then you can feed the power in. With this, because it's not huge power and not in the, you can't change the harshness of the setting, I just went all the way to the floor straight away. So it let the clutch out. Well, it should have let the clutch out at flat out.
Yeah.
And the clutch started coming out at 2,000 RPM. It was just like,
yeah.
I don't know how you're going to get quicker than that without being able to change that
into sport mode. That was horrific.
You could, and because it's a bloody SMG and it's got a clutch, you can't really stall it up on the brake either.
All right, give us a minute.
Now this one, guys, I'm going to try it. I'm not even going to put it in manual mode because you can't get it in sports mode. So this is just
full auto.
Yep. 2,000 RPM takeoff again.
You shouldn't laugh, it's almost funny.
Race car.
Feels quicker though.
It sounds good.
Okay, that was a 9.1. I've switched it to kilometers an hour. That was a 9.1 kilometers an hour and an 8.3 60 to 130.
Okay, that's worse than I was expecting.
Cool. Not cool.
Not cool.
And I'll just check what that was in miles per hour. We can do that. We have the technology.
The only other thing I was going to mention is that she's also just below a full tank, whereas we try and always measure the cars around 50% tank. So I was like, oh, it's got a little bit more weight, but look, I think this could be on an empty tank and it's still going to be slow as hell. The way this thing is taking off and shifting is just not aggressive.
So that is, just to confirm, the first run 0 to 60 miles an hour was 8.67, and the second one was 8.77. So it was actually slower with letting it shift.
Letting it shift, okay. Which it was shifting just a little bit earlier, but when I let it shift, I was able to just sit back, keep my foot flat out, not do anything, and it does sound good. I must admit, she screams, it sounds brilliant. And with a proper manual gearbox, this car would be a lot of fun.
I kind of want to see if we can get it in sports mode.
How? Without the bloody, I mean, all the buttons have been taken off.
The button's not there, but I wonder if we could use a button from your 535.
Hack it in.
Might be a job for another video. We'll see how we go. But yeah, so we know that an E46 SMG, not in sports mode, is really slow.
It's very slow. And on that topic, even if you're going to buy one and use it not as a race car, actually no, it's not too bad as a daily cruiser. Letting it, no, it's a bit shit. Sorry.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
It's trying to be nice.
An auto would be better.
Yeah, I think it would.
Like it's slow and relaxing, but an auto would just be smoother and better.
Yeah.
And a manual would be better for hooning. So
why do they exist?
Phil, get rid of this SMG, manual in.
And we'll see what this thing can really do. All right. Is that it? We got anything else to cover?
Well, I'm going to go for a bit of hoon on the way back, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
We're here. And that is one thing it does do. It does handle and makes you feel like it wants to be hooned, even though it's not very quick off the line.
All right, guys.
On that bombshell.
It's a bit of a bombshell. It's really disappointing. All right. We're going to end it off. Thank you very much for watching. Let us know what other mods you think he should be doing in the comments below. Like I said, he's pretty keen to do the coilovers first. We've got to find a manual gearbox. They're really hard to get at the moment. Thank you, COVID. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.